Hello YouTube friends, how are you all doing? I haven't made a video for a while, but I think I'm back for English videos. I did a lot of videos in Arabic and Turkish recently because I learned those two languages on a regular basis since I don't know, for maybe 2 years, I think. Yeah, and I had to practice more those languages, and I talked about history in my Arabic videos and about various topics in my Turkish videos. And today I want to talk about evolution in language learning. What do I mean by evolution is that when you begin to learn a language and you don't have any experience with the foreign languages, you learn in a certain way, and after the third one you start to realize that you can learn it in another way, and it gets faster and faster, and you know how to actually manage language learning. So I want to talk about this topic today. Okay, and I'll just explain how my language learning method changed throughout the years. I have learned on my own several languages, and some languages I stopped learning them. I just maintained them by just speaking to natives. Like I first started with Spanish. Actually, Spanish is one of my favorite language. It's actually a common language because lots and lots of people in Europe and in the US learn Spanish. Unfortunately, here or in Europe or in the US, the problem is that people just learn it at school and they don't have something fun about learning Spanish. It's not something fun. It's just something very boring. That you go to the Spanish classes, and okay, it's very boring. You don't learn something about the culture. You don't get to speak to native speakers. Uh, you're just taught grammar, and that's not the right approach at the beginning, at least. You gotta learn more words and sentences through texts, and that will help you a lot. If you learn actually words and sentences through context, you will learn a lot faster than if you try to nail down the grammar at the beginning. And so I learned Spanish, and a lot of people ask me how to learn fast. Like I want to be able to speak after 2 3 months. Um, Actually, I tend to. How would I reply to this question? I tend to reply like, take your time. It's very important to go slow. Yeah, at the beginning when you learn foreign languages, you always want to go faster than actually the process is very slow, and people don't know it, and they just think after a couple of months they are going to boast, or I don't know, just be able to have conversations. Okay, you can have conversations on certain topics that you are familiar with, but if they're touching other grounds, you will have some troubles to keep it flow. So back to my Spanish. I learned it mostly speaking. So my reading abilities in Spanish are very bad in terms of vocabulary. Actually, as I already spoke French, Spanish was not a big issue in terms of vocabulary. I could always rely on French and just try to get my meaning across just using French words transformed into Spanish words. So I learned a lot speaking. That's why I'm more comfortable speaking Spanish than writing or reading Spanish, although I can communicate writing Spanish, or I don't know. Yeah, so Spanish mainly oral learning. I learned through a book like Teach Yourself, or whatever, and I got to speak a lot with Dominican friends and also Colombian friends, and that's why I have a little bit a South American accent when I speak Spanish. I don't have any accent from Spain because I never learned that way. I did not buy the CDs from Spain, so I did not know that Spanish people pronounce it that way and Latin American people pronounce it on another way. I just learned the Latin American version. After that, that being said, after I learned, I wanted I wanted to learn yeah, Japanese. Yeah, Japanese is actually a very different language because you have to think in another way, and I think Japanese is an interesting language as second or third language if you learn some Indo-European languages and you want to switch to another world. Like my method changed a little bit with Japanese because Japanese is not close related to the languages I knew at the time, but actually Japanese is related a little bit to Chinese due to kanji, so I had some facilities, not facilities, I have some advantages. If I learn Japanese kanji, I can rely on Chinese to just have a grasp on how to write it. But the pronunciation was so different. Like bonnet would be 帽子 in Chinese and 帽子 in Japanese. It's written the same way, but it's pronounced on a different way. And yeah, let me check the time. Okay, 6 minutes. What else? Yeah, Japanese, different. The word order very different, like just SOB languages. So I think it's very different. You gotta be used to express everything in another way, think in another way, and that's quite difficult if you are just familiar with Indo-European languages. And then I learned Italian. Italian, I did not read a lot in Italian, so my vocabulary in Italian is actually very limited. I can hold a conversation, but I never read. I never read in Italian. I should read more to get familiar with some expressions. And what's very cool about Italian that I learn a lot of gestures in Italian, like things like that. It means it's delicious. I didn't know it. I learned a lot talking to Italians and people. Italians are very friendly. If you just talk in Italian, it changes everything. And then I went back to Japanese because my Japanese was a little bit so-so, and it's still so-so because it's a language I cannot study constantly. I don't know why. It's always on and off, on and off, on and off. And yeah, after Japanese and Italian, I tried several languages like Polish, Indonesian, but I did not continue those languages and I forgot almost everything because I feel that if I don't have any natives around me to speak it at least once a month, then I get discouraged because there is a barrier between the culture and the language and the culture and me because I cannot get in touch and just speak to natives. And that's, yeah, you can use the internet, but it's not the same. I actually love to speak face to face, yeah, in in real situation. So that's it. And yeah, the tipping point in learning languages is when you have a passion for a certain language. And this language for me is Turkish. I love Turkish, and my language learning strategy changed over the years. due to Turkish actually. I began to learn Turkish in I don't know 2010. And Turkish actually, when I was learning Turkish, I felt like I was learning a second Japanese. Like why do I say second Japanese? Because the way of expressing things, ideas, is actually very similar. So SOV language is verb always at the end of the sentence, and also like if you're familiar with Japanese, you know the wa, ga particles that you put in the sentence to just say it's a subject or it's the object accusative. And why Turkish is so interesting, because I wanted to learn another language, like not Indo-European, not Asian, and I wanted to learn something which is completely different, which I in a language. How could I express it? You can just delve into the language and just try to discover a new world. I wanted to discover a new world, so I chose Turkish. And Turkish, why is it special to me? Because it's a language I could speak on a daily basis. I just meet people on my university, and we speak Turkish on a regular basis, and that's what's like Japanese. I I learned a lot from books, and Turkish I learned a lot from both people and books. Like you can learn a lot from books, CDs, I don't know, TV shows, and all that stuff. But actually, to be able to speak and to use expressions that natives would use in a natural way, you gotta keep in touch with the natives. Even if you are very fluent in the language and you have never lived in the country, some small, I don't know how to express it as, yeah, you cannot grasp every aspect of the language. We cannot be perfect in any language. It's not, we're not aiming, it's not our aim to be perfect. Our aim is just to discover a new culture and to be able to converse about a wide variety of subject. And Turkish was, wow, I learned Turkish, and let me see the time. Okay, 12 minutes. I should make a second video explaining evolution of my language learning techniques for and Turkish and Arabic. I'll make a second part. See you then.